community cooking class at the market. It's been a couple years since we've had these. Kate did them previously and I'm new. My name's Ann.
And I'm Kate.
Yeah.
And we're going to cook together today.
Yes, yes. So it's new for us too, but we're so excited. And Kate, what are we going to be doing today?
We're doing a spicy black bean and sweet potato taco with spicy slaw on top. I keep saying spicy. They're not so spicy you can't eat them, but they have a lot of flavor, which is what we're looking for.
Yeah. And we're going to be talking about the tips and techniques on how to make these things and how to get the kids really involved in the whole process.
They're tacos. Kids love tacos, so this is... He's gonna watch. Yay, Francisco.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're putting together foods that kids will like. There's a little bit of sweetness with the sweet potatoes. The beans are nice and savory and soft, so kids are gonna love it.
Okay.
And so will adults, not just
Yes, everyone's going to love it. Okay, let's get started. So, Kate, why don't you talk about what you're going to be doing today with that sweet
Right.
potato?
We're going to start with the sweet potato. Sweet potatoes come in all sizes and shapes. Sometimes they're long, sometimes they're short and round. They also come in orange, purple, white, and pink. All of them taste a little bit different, but all of them are good for you. The darker the color on any vegetable, the more nutrition it has for you. So we take the sweet potato. If it sounds better to you to peel it, you can certainly peel the skin off, but sweet potato skins are very tender and kind of soft, so all you really need to do is just scrub it really well and then cut it up as it is, and it gives you an extra little bit of crunch, which is what I kind of like.
Yeah.
So as we cut up this, you notice it's not round, I mean it's not flat, it's round, so it's going to roll around on your cutting board. So in order to get it cut into the little cubes that we want so they all cook evenly, we're going to cut it in half, and then we're going to use the two sides, and then we're going to cut it. We're not going to cut it right now. Anyway.
And also, one thing about the skin that I always know, I never peel my carrots either. So with carrots, and I think sweet potatoes about the same ratio, there's 10 to 20% more nutrition in the skin than in the flesh itself. So we got to get used to that. And there's also studies now with our bacterial health, that with the soil that touches the skin is so important what they're pulling out of that soil.
Right.
So,
Right.
so
The
we
good
want that.
bacteria.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you got the potato going over there. Well, Kate's doing that. If you don't have sweet potatoes, it's okay. Maybe you got a butternut squash, and you can do the same thing with butternut squash. Now, a lot of people peel butternut squash. Butternut squash skin is also edible, but it is a little bit tougher. So let's say you have one potato and one squash, two potatoes, three potatoes, one potato, two potatoes. Yeah. If you have one of each, they do have different cooking times. So if you were going to roast them, I would roast them separately.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So great. Kate, while you got that going, I think I'm going to start on the beans.
Okay.
Okay. So today we said we're going to do black beans, but that doesn't mean you can't use pinto beans, refried beans. I mean,
Cannellini, the white beans.
Yeah.
Great
Yep.
Northerns work also.
they all work. They're all yummy. This is more traditional, especially in the Latino cultures, to use the black bean. And so what we're going to be doing is just open your can, and then you can drain it. Oh, you got a recipe?
It's on your box.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you can drain the juice off and then rinse them. Okay. Now I always save my juice. Do you save?
I
your juice?
save my juice because then it goes into soup.
I know.
It's
I
wonderful.
always save it. And by the way, if you're going to peel stuff, I don't know about you, Kate, but when I had my restaurant, I had a huge stock pot. Every peeling in the whole restaurant, or the onion ends, stems, all went in there to make our veggie stuff.
I have a bag in my freezer, and that's my stock bag, and everything goes in there.
Yeah, same here, same here. Okay, so one of the things that's called for in this recipe is an onion. So I'm going to be, Kate's doing the sweet potato. I'm going to demonstrate on how to cut an onion. So this one's really big for this recipe. We won't be using it all. But what you always want to be able to do is just peel off your onion skin. I cut off the top, and then I cut it in half right straight through the root, but leave the root on, because that keeps your onion intact. So when you're trying to slice and dice, it's not all over the place. So, and also there's been, I know for sure this is true, because you always gotta, you never know, you know, especially when you watch a lot of TV cooking
shows.
Yep. Some people say that when you cut that off, that's what releases that enzyme that causes your eyes,
makes you water.
makes your eyes water. So it's always worth a try. Okay. So great. Okay. Well, you got that going. Now we had a pre-roast because we don't have an oven here. So Kate's got that going. Tell them what you're going to put on that and how you're going to put it in the oven.
Okay, once these are in little cubes, we're going to sort of roll them around a little bit in olive oil. Or we don't have to use only olive oil, you can use any kind of oil. Olive oil has a little bit more flavor, but you can use vegetable oil, you can use coconut oil, whatever you have. And then we're going to basically dust them with cumin and salt and pepper and chili powder. And then roast them. Yep, got it right here. And then we're going to roast them for about half an hour at 425 until they're nice and tender, stirring them halfway through until you get a fork in them very easily, and then they're done. That's it.
And one of the things, Kate and I, we looked at the recipe, but both of us just love chipotle, just chipotle. So I roasted these earlier, and I didn't put any chipotle on them, but we're going to sprinkle some on right now.
Chipotle is a chili, but it is a roasted chili, so it has a smoked flavor to it, and that smoked flavor is unsurpassed by anything else.
Yeah, that's just so good. And if you really want to have fun, get the chipotles and the adobo sauce. They're little cans like this. You can get at Ingles. You can get anywhere. I think about 89 cents, Kate. I'm not for sure. Everything's going up, folks. So I'm not for sure. But you can chop those real fine and throw that in there too.
And when I open a can of chipotles and adobo, I never use the whole can for whatever I'm doing.
Either.
So I put it in a Ziploc bag, flatten it, throw it in the freezer, and then I can just break off pieces when I need it.
That's brilliant. I haven't done that. I put everything in the freezer. So by the way, if you want to know, one of the things I did want to mention about beans, you'll be getting a lot of dried beans in your boxes. So they're so much more economical. So if, like this can probably costs $1.
$1.29, $1.59,
Yeah. You can get a bag of beans for that and make 10 meals out of it instead of the one. So when you get your beans in your box, you're going to soak them I soak mine always overnight.
Right. As long as you soak them for about 6 hours. You can do it in the morning and then cook them in the evening.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Which works.
Yeah. And then you can cook them. I make a big batch at one time, and then I portion those out and put them in baggies and freeze them. And you can do the same thing with rice. So you can freeze any bean, any rice, and then you got it ready to go.
Pull them out, you've got your meal.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Wow. So this is really starting to smell great here. The beans and the onions, really good.
To go in with once we get the beans in there. Once we have the beans in, we're going to, the beans, we have to wait a second. We need to saute the onions.
Oh, yes.
We're
Thanks.
going to saute the onions, and then when you're sauteing onions in garlic and jalapenos, you want to do the onions first and get them almost done so that they're soft and translucent, meaning you can see through them. Then you put the garlic and jalapeno in because you don't want to cook that for very long because the garlic gets bitter if it cooks too long.
And it's a common mistake. And so if you're following recipes or even watching a TV show, I can't tell you how often they tell you to put the garlic in way too early. Yeah. Always way too early.
It needs 2 minutes max.
Yeah. And then with the jalapenos, any hot pepper, it is advised that you can wear a glove. Okay. So because the first thing you do, I swear, if you get hot pepper on you, first thing you always do is you wipe your eyes.
Yeah.
Now, why is that? I don't know why.
No, but you'll never forget.
I know, because you do it once. Yeah, you do it once and everything. So this is how we're gonna dice the jalapeno and how we're gonna seed it. And the reason we're seeding it, because we don't want it to be over the top hot. Now, if you like super hot spicy, keep the seeds in. That's the way to do it. So we're just gonna slice it in half. You're gonna hold it like this. Okay, and let me move that so you can see. You'll slice it in half. And after we slice it in half, I think we have plenty of these. You can take the edge of the spoon, if this is too big.
Or a grapefruit spoon works too.
Yep, and I have a little tomato corer that I've had for decades, and that's what I use. And then you're just gonna take it out like this, okay?
If you leave the seeds and the membrane in, that's where the heat is.
Yep.
So you'll get some heat without it, but if you leave the seeds and membrane, you'll get more heat. So it's your choice.
And once again, when you're doing any cooking, flat. Remember how Kate said she wanted her sweet potato flat? It's the same with the jalapeno. So don't try to cut it on that side. Cut it on this side. And take off the stem. And then, you know, just thin little slices. But notice how I have my fingers. This is really important. And
It's
when
called the claw.
the claw. So you put your fingers like that. Because if you put your fingers like that, and then you try to cut, guess what's going to happen? And believe it or not, I just can't tell you how many people. And it's just thin little slices, okay? And then we're just going to dice across. But once again, you see I have my finger on the claw, in a claw shape. There we go. And then I'm just going to add Kate's garlic to this. We'll mix it more up together. I try to get a little bit teenier, Kate, in this application just because you don't want a big old chunk of pepper. And this is just called, I don't know what this motion's called, but it's just called sawing, basically.
Sawing, yeah.
And try not to get your knife in the loop of your apron so that you then do really cause major damage. So, okay, so the onions are done. We're gonna add the garlic and the jalapeno, and then we're gonna add our beans.
Yep.
And then we're gonna add a little bit more seasoning. Okay. We're gonna add these seasonings. Now, I always say taste before assembly. So get your taste spoon. Remember, 1 spoon, 1 taste.
Yeah.
But adjust it to your family. Do you know what I mean? I might like a lot more cumin. You might not want near as much, but adjust it to your family, okay? Cook for what your family wants and what you like. And the other thing I want to point out about cilantro, often they just say to just use the leaves.
Oh, the stems are sometimes the best juiciest
They are.
parts.
Use the whole thing. And that's about like so many plants. I mean, you know, broccoli plants, you can eat the leaves, you can eat the stem. I mean, everything is edible. We've just been conditioned to think everything has to be round and pretty in the grocery store and stuff. Yeah, and yeah. So, and also tip, when you get fresh herbs in your boxes, when you get them home, cut off the bottom stems and then put them in a jar of water just so that the stems are getting fed, and then keep it on your counter. I don't refrigerate my herbs ever. And that's a big mistake. A lot of people, they'll turn black. Really
Especially
quick.
basil. Basil turns
Yeah.
black instantly when it goes in the fridge.
Yeah.
So you want to keep it out.
Okay, so while this is looking great, all this is going, I think we're ready to start assembling, but do you want to tell them that you're going to smash the beans, Kate?
Yes, I'm going to use the wooden spoon, and I'm just going to smash them up a little bit just because they stay in the taco better, especially if you have kids. You don't want beans rolling all over the kitchen.
Yeah.
So we're going to mash them up a little bit. And once that's all set and they're warmed and seasoned, then we're going to put the sweet potatoes in with them, mix them up, and we're ready to roll.
And we didn't have enough time to show you the Spicy Slaw recipe, but that's what we're going to start to assemble and everything.
Right.
Okay.
And these are tacos. You can put salsa on them. You can put anything that your family likes on them. We happen to like the Spicy Slaw. It gives an extra punch with the cabbage. And it may be a little too adult for kids, but one of the best salsas that I've ever made for kids is mango pineapple salsa.
Yeah.
So a little bit of heat in there with jalapeno, mangoes, pineapple, and tomatoes. Wonderful salsa to go on this as well.
Yeah. Okay, so, and then Eliza, our volunteer today, is going to be passing samples out around. We hope you enjoy them, and just let us know. Come every week and we'll give you more tips
We'll give
and
you
tricks.
something new
Every week.
every week.
Okay, claw. There's the claw.